Hello everybody. Well, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different with the news podcast this week. I brought up my little page here. As you can see, I posted a poll here to see if you guys would like me to continue to do it in the way I was, where I was taking the snippets of just the English part out of the original French podcast, or if you'd like to see me kind of do a more general summary. And it looks like you guys love me. You really love me. So in this video, we're going to do just that. Go over some of the things covered in this morning's podcast, as well as give you my thoughts on things and where I stand on things with Temporis after the first 3 weeks. Okay, let's do this. I got my notes over here on the left-hand side, so you'll see me glancing this way. This is hopefully to help keep editing a little easier and quicker for me so I can get this out tonight. So the first thing they talked about was the #1 dungeon smashed over the course of this Temporis so far. Can you guess which one it is? You probably can, because you've probably done it hundreds of times too, and that's the Cardorium dungeon up there in Incarnum. I bet that's a first. They said it's been conquered over 100,000 times. Now, to be honest, I actually thought it would be more than that. So last week they talked about how you can actually craft the Dofuses using your cards. So what they've done now is when you play a card on the table for the 5-cat draw, now there'll be a special effect that occurs when you play that card to show you that that is one that can be used to craft a Dofus. They mentioned that it will take several of those cards to craft them. Now, they did specify that special cards does not mean the yellow card. So it's not like just because you're playing the yellow cards that represents special. But they said that the special effect will occur, it takes lots of those, and they also said they will not be low-level Dofuses, that they'll be the higher-level ones. If I had to guess, knowing how things have gone so far, I would say that you probably have to play cards that are associated around the same level as the Dofus. So there's some that you can only wear at level 100 and 140, 160. I don't know what all the levels are. So I would say if you're trying to discover some of those yourself, try to play cards that are maybe around the level cap that you're aware of for a Dofus. And maybe you'll start to see that effect occur. They said they expect to see the Dofus to start popping up probably sometime this week now that they've implemented that little special effect. Another change that they just recently implemented is if you come here to where the Kickroach dungeon is and you got Papyshat, and he's been here all along, they've been adding stuff to it, and as you can see, it doesn't look really nice the way they got that. But there is a slot machine here. Functions completely like Papyshat, but now look how much nicer that looks. Not quite sure what the big gray bar is over here on the right-hand side, but the prices and everything, if you compare these to what Papyshat had, they're the same and everything. My guess is I wouldn't be surprised if on the next update maybe Papyshat disappears and you have only the slot machine here. But this was a recent change that they implemented as well. Alright, Ankama also said that they've done some things to make progression a little easier in the Temporis. They didn't go into specific details in the podcast of what those were, but they did say that there is a list on the website that details what the changes were. But apparently they've made some changes to try to help make things a little easier. Alright, and the big subject that they really covered in this podcast is role playing. Now, I don't know how many of you might be interested in that. In fact, let me know in the comments below. Is role playing something that you really get into in this game or maybe a different game? But the idea is that when they built Ecaflip City and the story behind it, apparently they had some game masters, as they call them, and they are people that have actually put together some systems into this so that over the next several weeks there's going to be games and things come alive that they've been here all along. They just weren't like activated or implemented, and they said it is to intensify the storyline. So if role-playing is something that you might be interested in, you might want to go track them down. You can find them on the forums and on the Twitter social accounts there. Now, one cool aspect about the role-playing with the game masters is apparently during these games that you participate in, you can earn a special token that can then be used to shop at a special shop to get unique rewards to take back with you when Temporis is over. So I don't know what the cosmetics might look like, but apparently there's some fun things you can get if you're into the role-playing kind of thing. So the server merge, big topic. Everybody's been asking about it at least the last week. I feel like the first 2 weeks people were okay, but this last week definitely noticed people asking about it more often. And Ankama said that it was not going to happen this week, meaning the week that just started. At least that's the plan, but they said it is probably going to happen next week. It's not promised yet, but they said most likely. They mentioned that merging the servers are actually a pretty big project for them. They want to make sure that all the servers have high populations, but not too high of populations. I'm sure there's a lot of back-end stuff that they have to do. They said there's tons of data to try to make sure everything merges smoothly. They got to do a bunch of stuff, but they said it's very doable and that they hope to probably do that next week. All right, and they did have a Q&A section towards the end. There wasn't really much that was said there, but one thing they did bring up was the hunter profession. Apparently, a lot of people have been saying that the grind to level the hunter profession is too much. So what they did is they actually implemented some changes to the hunter profession to try to make that a little easier. Now, they did say just a little easier. They said that it should still be a lot of work, and they want to make sure that the people that do the work to get up to those high levels are rewarded for their efforts. They're still watching it, gauging it. They said that if they need to, they'll tweak it some more in the coming weeks, but as of right now, they did make a slight improvement on that. So if you've been trying to level that hunter profession and you've hit a brick wall, it might be a little easier to keep going now. All right, and the Dofus lag was kind of the last big subject that they covered that a lot of people have been curious about. They said that the experiment that they ran last week on 2 unnamed servers, they said it did not really have very much of an effect. Very little effect is what they specified. They're back to the drawing board. They're going to try some new things. They said unfortunately they're doing what they can and that there will be compensation, but they don't want to do any kind of compensations until they've resolved the issue, which makes sense because why would you want to get compensated now when the issue is actually still there and you can't really enjoy it right? I'm glad that they're still working on that. I know this has got to be bugging them probably just as much as it's bugging you and I. So we are 3 weeks into Temporis 5 now, and what are my thoughts? I like it. I'm having fun. Now, I have to be honest with you, I did hit my first moment of kind of real frustration this week where I was stuck for 3 days until I found somebody on at the same time I was that could craft the cards that I needed. I had the resources, and I just couldn't find anybody to craft it. You know, that's kind of what's going to happen from time to time, and hopefully the server merge is going to help with that. Also, the guild here has been a fantastic reason. In fact, probably the #1 reason why I'm enjoying this Temporis so much is because of the people that are in the guild here. Yeah, I've hooked up with a few random people to go do a couple random things once in a while, but the people in this guild are just so fun to hook up with. We help each other out. We go try to run and do things. We're not even halfway through this Temporis yet. There's still 7 weeks left. Still a lot of time to go. And, you know, lots of people are still enjoying Temporis. I mean, if you look on here, there's a 156, 157, 140s, another 158. Here's a level 10, somebody who's just now starting, but they're starting to work their way through it. It may be a little quieter than it was, but it's still got a lot of stuff still to come. And if you're into the role-playing thing, sounds like there's a lot of fun games and stuff that are about to start being unlocked and opened up, and who knows what else Ankama has up their sleeve in store for this Temporis. And one last thing I thought I'd bring up here. So I ran a poll on my channel after the first week, kind of asking people where they set in the Temporis. As you can see, half the people that voted, and there were over 500 votes in that first one, half of them said they're not even playing this Temporis, that they weren't interested. But you can see there's a pretty good spread of people that tried it and stopped, we're still going strong, and that sort of thing. I just ran one here this week as well, kind of gauge where people are now that we've had a couple weeks into it. And as you can see, there's definitely a bit of interest dropping. So, you know, this Temporis isn't for everybody. And if you played as far as you want to go and you're like, okay, yep, I'm done, I'm over this, there's no shame in that. This isn't going to be for everybody. But I thought this was kind of cool to be able to share that. I've been, you know, collecting information or data from you guys, and I'm sure I'll put polls out there as the weeks progress, just kind of gauge how people are moving forward still. All right, I got one more question for you. If you can let me know in the comments below, do you like this style of a Dofus news? Do you like me kind of giving you a more general feedback, or did you like the old version more where you got it straight from Ankama, what they were saying about the different things? Let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't already and you could smack that like button, it would really help the channel out. Until next time, you all be safe out there, and I will see you on the next one.